Hey guys, welcome back. I'm working on the dually again. I want to take off a few more things off the motor just so I can clean the brackets up, make it look a little nicer. Then I'm going to take my scraper here, little putty knife, try to scrape as much grease as I physically can off of here. And then I bought some cheap cans of brake cleaner at O'Reilly's or AutoZone. I think it's like $6 a can for those blue ones. Those other ones I had here. But I want to try to get as much grease as I can off first and then take the brake cleaner and see if I can't break down the rest of it with some towels and stuff like that. Try to clean this up as best as possible. Is this going to be perfect? No, we're not going for perfect here. This is something that gets driven a lot, this truck. It's had over probably close to 100,000 miles put on it since it was last done. So it's not like it sits around and it's not a show truck, okay? But I just couldn't justify putting the new core support, the new fender on, and the inner wheel well, and having all this nice painted white and having the motor look like complete garbage. So I figured, since I had the front off because it was in a front end accident, I had to take the radiator out the other day and I started pulling some components off the motor. I figured, you know what, let's just clean this up a little bit, spray can the parts, as you can see over here on the floor. You know, I've been painting parts as I've been cleaning them. And we're just going to go through it like that and just make it look a little nicer, a little bit more presentable. This is something that anybody can do, and it's going to cost you whatever, some cans of brake cleaner, some spray paint, and a little bit of time. So maybe $50 to $75 in materials, and the rest is just your little bit of labor, and you're really going to have a dramatic change from what it looks like now to what it's going to look like. But once again, guys, we're not going for perfect here. If we were building a perfect show car, this motor would be coming out. We would be completely wire wheeling the motor down, degreasing it, painting it really well, you know, painting every single part as it went back on. Obviously, we don't have that luxury. I'm not getting paid to do that. I'm really not even getting paid to do the motor itself like I am. I am just doing it because it's a buddy of mine, and I just know it's going to look like crap if it stays looking like this with the truck with all a nice new paint job on it. So I took a bunch of stuff off. I'm going to pull off the air conditioning condenser or compressor because the hoses are already detached because the core for the air conditioning condenser core, whatever that thing is it broke. So it's already disconnected. So the system's already been evaporated. You know, it's all gone. So it doesn't matter. So I want to pop these hoses off here, pop this unit off. I can paint this individually. I can get this bracket off. I can paint that bracket individually. I already took the bracket and stuff off of the power steering. That power steering is just sitting there. I'm actually going to slide it off the bracket, set it onto the frame, pull that other last little bracket off the back of there, because the more of this stuff that I could paint separately is going to end up looking better in the end, because I'm not trying to just spray paint it all together in one piece. I think I'm going to do this like a cast color. The water pump, probably a cast color, because it'll look better. It'll look like it's a new water pump. I'm going to repaint the alternator silver and black like it's supposed to be. And like I said, I'm just going to kind of go through it and clean up some stuff here and there and just make it look a little better. So first thing I want to do is get those hoses off the back of the compressor for the air conditioner. I think it's a 15 millimeter. Of course, I probably did not grab a 15 out of the back room. That would have been dumb. So I got to go grab a 15 millimeter. Might as well grab a 16 while I'm at it. And we'll start taking a few more things off, and then I'll kind of just show you what I'm doing as far as cleaning it and stuff like that. Now, I'd imagine there's O-rings on this. I don't know how they are yet because I can't say that I've ever taken this style hose off before. These bolts, I'm going to wire wheel them on my bench wire wheel over there and just respray them black again. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy. And we're not going to spend a week doing this either. I've got probably 2 hours into it so far. I would like to have no more than about 8 hours into this. So we're gonna see how we can transform this to see what it looks like in an 8-hour period. Roughly, that's my goal. Might just have to pull these out after the bracket. Maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna take this bracket off. The good thing is this is a newer motor, so we don't have to worry about any adjustments on any of these components because it's a serpentine setup, which means we have a tensioner pulley. The tensioner pulley is what gives your belt the tension that it needs to spin the components properly. An old car, we would have an adjustment on this, we would have an adjustment on the alternator, we would have an adjustment on the power steering pump, but in this case, we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. We'll take some Neverdol and maybe some SOS pads and try to clean up those valve covers the best we can. It's got some pitting and corrosion. It's aluminum. I mean, only so much you can do. That happens, unfortunately, no matter what, over time. You know what, those might be chrome. They might be chrome aluminum, I'm not sure. If that's the case, I could see why it would be corroding white. Okay, we got the top 2 bolts off. Now we got a through bolt down here and 2 through bolts on the bottom, and this should be ready to come off. I believe those are 15s as well. So we're going to use our cordless impact with a 15 millimeter socket. Close these off real quick here. Or get the socket stuck. That's always fun. I'm going to unplug this. You gotta be careful with these older plugs. The truck from the mid-90s, somewhere in that area. I don't know exact day or year of it, but be a little careful with these connectors because they're old and brittle, and when these ends snap off, the only way to fix them is to either A, get a new end, put a new end on the wires, or zip tie the wire back onto the connector once you put it back on. Question is will these slide out with that pulley on? Whew, barely. It's a close one. Else in the way? I don't think so. All right, so we got that out of the way. Now the hoses should come out, and these have a, looks like a washer with a built-in O-ring. So we just flop these off to the side. We'll clean these up, wipe them down real good before they go back on. I'm going to work on taking this whole bracket off now. This is our ground wire for our motor, or for our battery. So we could take that out and put that back on after. I don't know if these are all 15 millimeter or not. There they are. Seriously? That thing's all wedged in there. sure how they got that one on. Maybe rotate it around, that might help. Impressive. They got that thing wedged on there between the two nuts so freaking tight that I can't get it apart. Maybe now I can get a wrench on it. Wrench won't even fit on there. Let's see if I get a skinnier one. Should be able to save that though. Worst case scenario, we'll put a new end on it. Okay, so we have this bracket off here and this one. Put that in a pile of stuff to clean and paint. And I'm not using super expensive paint, guys. I'm using Krylon 5X all-in-one satin black. We'll use a motor paint for the motor itself, but just using this Krylon 5X works really well. Paint and primer all in one. About $8 a can. A couple cans will do this whole front end. So now we have that off. There's these two brackets here I'd like to pull so I can paint those. We're gonna have to unbolt it from right there. I'm gonna have to unbolt this modulator right here. I don't know exactly what that does. Something to do with the tune port injection or whatever. I don't even know what that is. It's like a carburetor, but it's not. So we need to pull that off. I'm not real good with these newer cars, guys. I'm a carburetor guy, not fuel injected or any of that other crap. It's not my thing. I know a lot of people like putting in new motors in old cars, but I'm not for that. I think an old car should have an old motor. I think an old car should ride and drive like an old car, like it was originally made. I don't want my 65 Mustang to drive like a 2025 Mustang. I want it to drive like a 65 Mustang. That's the fun of it. In my eyes, anybody can go out and buy a new one. If you're gonna make an old one like a new one, then just buy a new one. All this stuff I can use my bench wire wheel, get all the grime and stuff off and paint them all. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here now and pop off this. I'm just making a short video. I'm not gonna do this for a real long time. I'm kind of show you how I'm gonna clean it up and stuff. Then I'm gonna do it on my own because it's gonna take me a couple hours. I don't really think you guys wanna watch me scrub a bunch of crap off a motor for a couple hours. I'd like to take this bracket off. Probably a 15 again. Maybe even a 14. 14. Okay. Anything else that I really want to take off? I don't think so. I think we're pretty good there. I think that'll clean up pretty good like that. So I'm going to start with my scraper here and just start. Should probably get a couple different size ones. Just going to start knocking off this big stuff, and then I'll take my blowgun and blow it off. And you just see the old grease and debris. You know, all this stuff right here. I mean, look at all this inside the harmonic, or inside the lower pulley. That's just years and years of dirt packed in there. And that's incredible. Now, when I use the brake cleaner and stuff, I'm not going to saturate the hoses or anything that possibly would have an O-ring or something like that on it, because we're not looking to cause a leak or anything like that. We're just trying to clean this thing up a little bit. Harmonic balancer and this pulley had like a pound of dirt in it. We got your lower sway bar here, it's just full of shit. So this is what I'm going to be doing basically for the next probably half an hour, just scraping and cleaning stuff up. And then I'll probably blow it off, and then I'll start using brake cleaner and start cleaning everything. I'll probably use a little wire wheel on my grinder and clean up some of the rust, stuff like that. But you can just see what I'm getting at here. So I'm gonna grab a couple different size scrapers and go ahead and do this for a while, and then I'll come back and show you what it's looking like. Just real quick, so nobody thinks I'm nuts or dumb, Oh, let me get my other towel here. Yes, I did shove towels in the upper intake carburetor, fuel injection, whatever this thing is. I did shove paper towels in there, and I do have one in there. Before I even start blowing this debris off of here, I have those covered. We don't have to worry about dirt getting in there and causing a problem. So I'm just gonna go ahead and keep cleaning away. So I'm about 30 minutes into it, and you can see a huge difference of how much grease and debris and dirt has come off this thing, and it's all over me and everything else. But I wanted to show you this. So this is one of the hoses. This is, I believe, an oil cooler hose. This is what it looked like before I cleaned all the grease and grime off of it, and this is what it looks like after. This I actually just rinsed down with some brake cleaner and immediately started wiping it. But this is a huge difference, and this is what I'm talking about. How it doesn't cost a lot to make a dramatic difference in how your vehicle looks when you're done. You know, I don't know where everything went to, everything needs to be perfect, because it doesn't. If you're gonna drive your vehicle, why do you want a perfect vehicle? What is that going to do for you? You know what I mean? You're not gonna be able to enjoy it, you're gonna be worrying about it all the time. But for $50, $75, maybe even $100, you guys can make your car look extremely good with minimal effort. One day of work, less than $100 out of your pocket. I would think more towards 75 bucks, and you're done. And you got a nice looking car, and it's simply just cleaning. A lot of this is just, I'm just cleaning years of debris. And to be honest with you, it's barely rusty, this thing. Even the motor is barely rusty. All that grease and oil that was all over the motor was protecting it from rusting. So now we can put a nice coat of paint on it, and it's not going to do this again because the truck doesn't get driven in the winter or anything like that. I mean, look at the front frame here. Look at how clean that is. We're going to spray some rust inhibitor on there before I paint it, but I mean, look at that. And I'm using a grinder, 4-inch grinder with a wire wheel, and I'm using my little a little wire wheel on my straight air grinder, and then I just wear a mask because those wire wheels will go into your face and eyes and everywhere else if you don't wear one. So I'm just gonna keep scrubbing away here, one hose at a time, just start getting all this grime and grease and years of filth off of this thing. Because I mean, it is thick. Look at that. So, all right, I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, I've got the whole front end cleaned. I went through 3 cans of brake cleaner, a half a roll of, not even a half a roll of $1 paper towel roll from Home Depot. So I'm about 20 bucks into it so far. I've got my door open just to get some ventilation in here. It's like 12 degrees outside and we got a bunch of snow, but I don't want to be breathing this shit in without having some fresh air. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna spray some of this rust reformer. And what it does is it just takes, it goes on clear, and it takes the little bit of rust that's on the frame and stuff and turns it black as it dries. So just gonna put a light coat on here. Does it really need it? No, probably not. But I'm here, I have it stripped down. I'll just lightly put a coat on it. Not gonna hurt it. And then once this dries, we can spray paint over it. So I am less than an hour into this so far, and it already looks a million times better. I'm sure I'm going to get some hate comments on doing this, that I'm a hack and this and that, but whatever. You know what? This is going to be back on the road soon. And that's really kind of what matters. So I'm going to let that sit now and dry so that it will turn that slight bit of rust to black, and then we can start painting some of this stuff. Okay guys, I painted the motor gloss black, the intake and the front of the motor, and then I painted like a cast color for the water pump. So that's where we're at for tonight. You can see how all the rust converter converted that rust. It looks way better. Tomorrow I'm going to paint the frame and start cleaning all these other parts and painting those so that I could start reassembling everything onto the motor. Still need to clean the valve covers and stuff like that, but that's not a big deal. Doesn't look like much yet, but definitely looks a lot better than what it did 2 days ago. So more videos coming, guys. We're going to get this thing knocked out here hopefully soon. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. If you wouldn't mind hitting the thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. Other than that, guys, I'll see you guys later.